Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, some cruise ships are finally setting sail after being stuck in harbor for 2 full days. Are they going to get some compensation for it? Well, let's talk about it. We also have a court action that's going on right now from that Voyerism crew member on Royal Caribbean Symphony of the Seas that stuck a camera up into some of the bathrooms, and they're seeking a class action lawsuit, but the company's saying no, it has to go through arbitration. I'll explain a little bit about all those details. And we have the sad news that an exploration cruise line, you would think with how busy things are in the cruise industry right now that things are booming. Well, unfortunately, these guys have just filed for bankruptcy. So first off, let's talk about the good news. We have the NCL Epic, we have other cruise lines, the Carnival cruise ship, we have the Royal Caribbean Symphony of the Seas was supposed to leave today at 11 a.m. because that's when the port authority said that the storm should be over and they'll be able to leave. Now, we already know NCL has canceled the first 2 ports of their call, and we now know that Royal Caribbean has said that they're canceling 2 of their 3 calls. They are no longer going to Orlando, they are no longer going to Nassau, they are only going to go to stop at Perfect Day at Coco Cay. So yeah, they've really cut back. Now what they said they've done is they are doing a future cruise credit for the 2 days that they were stuck in port. They're giving passengers, and if you have the drink package, you are going to get a discount on it. If you're buying drinks for the day of the 2 days that you were stuck in port, like they're gonna, or the 13th, I believe, just the 1 day, they are cutting the price in half. It's a weird situation when you're talking drink packages and stuck in port because you can still drink. I don't know, I don't understand, but it is kind of odd. But at least they're on their way, because as of this morning at 8 a.m., I can see both cruise ships have left the port. So they have actually left earlier than their planned time. This is really important for the Symphony of the Seas because its arrival in, they were predicting at Perfect Day at Coco Cay, was supposed to originally be for 7:30 a.m. and instead they told them we won't be arriving till around 11 a.m., 11:30 a.m. Well, now that they're able to leave earlier, maybe they will get at least that full day at Perfect Day at Coco Cay instead of just the partial day that they were now going to get because of this storm and being held in port. But good news, both ships are on their way. Next, let's talk about Explora Expeditions. They are a small cruise ship company. It holds around 146 passengers, I believe. Beautiful looking ship. It's pretty brand new, actually. And they held, leaving from Argentina, they were holding Antarctica expeditions. But unfortunately, they were not selling too well. They were advertising primarily to French-speaking passengers. In the 2024-2025 season, it looks like they were only sailing at about 50% capacity. So in this time of cruise boom, shall we say, where everything seems to be, selling out and ships are full everywhere you go, they were struggling. And unfortunately, they just filed for bankruptcy. There was supposed to be this big new expansion coming next year with, a Canadian company, Tours Canada, but that kind of fell out and a major backer backed out, I believe, in September. So now they are having a big cash flow problem. And so they literally had to declare bankruptcy. So we'll have to see what happens to that little ship. Like I said, it looks like a beautiful ship for expedition, pretty brand new. Little disappointed that they didn't get to stick around. I'm sure somebody will pick up this ship and people will be able to continue to sail her somewhere, at least, but unfortunately, probably not under Explorer expeditions. And finally, let's talk about the Symphony of the Seas one more time, but this time for something that happened way back in 2023. Remember the story of a Royal Caribbean stateroom attendant, and what he did is he hid a camera inside the bathroom of the staterooms, some of the staterooms he was monitoring and cleaning. Well, when he was caught, they found photos of various women on a thumb drive, including one that was only 10 years old, apparently, according to the lawsuit. The gentleman was, I use that term loosely, was convicted in court and actually sentenced to 30 years in prison. But a law firm has picked up the class action lawsuit, and they are allegedly suing, on behalf of approximately 960 passengers who they say may have been filmed, because they don't know. They haven't seen the footage. Only the law officials have seen the footage and stuff like that. But they're alleging that this employee was working between December 1st and February in 2024. So December 2023 to February 2026 is when he was fired and caught, and he was hired the year before. So he's saying everyone who stayed in any one of those staterooms is eligible for this lawsuit. Now the company is pushing back, saying, no, hey, first off, we have a contract with our crew, with passengers, and it clearly states in the contract that any emotional and mental anguish suits have to go through arbitration, not the courts. And there is a clause in there. I've looked it up on the cruise contract. There is one in there saying that you cannot sue for these kind of reasons. You can only basically sue for physical damage, loss of theft, death, that kind of thing. But the lawyers are saying, no, this is a different kind of situation. There's two things, one on each side, that I think they're both in trouble for because Royal Caribbean is going to say, well, you signed a cruise contract saying you can't do this. But under the law, there has to be a reasonable expectation that the person read the contract. And unfortunately, when you're booking your cruise and it says, please read the cruise contract, you bring it up, what do? You just scroll all the way to the bottom and you click accept. How many people have actually read a cruise contract? I have, because it's my job. But I bet you 99.9999% of people out there have never once read a cruise contract. So is the expectation there that everybody reads the contract? That's one problem for Royal Caribbean. For the lawyers, they are assuming, first of all, they're suing for mental anguish. The trouble is, most of the people on the lawsuit, except for probably one, had no idea they were filmed until somebody told them, right? Until a lawyer tells them, oh, by the way, you stayed in this cabin from this date, you were filmed. Other than that, they don't know if they were filmed. So where's the mental anguish, other than the ones who caught the employee doing it, right? So there's two arguments there that are going to be hard to find and fight in court for either side. A class action lawsuit for people who may have been filmed, may not have been filmed, may never have even known they were filmed, but suffered from mental anguish. It's kind of a leap of faith kind of lawsuit, but class action lawsuit, everyone gets involved because it sounds like a big payday, right? Compared to an individual arbitration hearing where a person goes in and says, oh yeah, I found out 2 months ago that I was filmed 2.5 years ago. There's a picture of me on some guy's thumb drive. I'm really mentally anguished over that. How much money do you think an arbitrator would give you? But a class action lawsuit is completely different. And you never know in courts. So I don't know. It's a weird situation that shouldn't, what can I say? Do we all have to start going in with like camera detectors, metal detectors into our bathrooms and bedrooms nowadays? It's just the way of the world nowadays, folks. You just can't trust anybody. Well, what would you guys do if you found out, hey, a year and a half ago, some guy filmed me and would you file for a lawsuit? Would you expect a lawsuit? Or would you say, what a creep, and leave it at that? Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.